Welcome back to Podcast for the Recently Released My Ghouls and Geeks. I am Lewis Stardust.
And I'm your co-host, Joe Matisa.
The energy is just the same today, clearly.
Yeah, always the same. We have like identical energy, I've noticed. It's crazy. Let me zoom myself out a little bit so I'm a little more level with you. What? How's it looking? All right, sweet. We on. Well, welcome to the show today.
Yeah, people who are listening to us and not watching us on YouTube have no idea what you're talking about. So.
Well, still, if you want to know what kind of stuff I'm finagling around with, definitely come and check us out on YouTube and watch these videos. We have a nice little presentation, little, I don't know what this would be called. Like, what is this, like a border layout thing going on? I don't know. It's fun.
Can you tell who the extrovert of the relationship is?
Me.
You got something on your face.
What is it? Do I have a styrofoam on my face?
No. You good? Don't worry about it. I think you're fine.
What's on my face?
I think you're fine. Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. Today is episode 65. We're going to be touching base on Invincible episode 4, Falcon and Winter Soldier Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3, and then the movie Godzilla vs. Kong. So that'll be pretty fun. And we'll talk about a couple other things as well. Oh, and you've got something going on over here.
It's a sloth.
Oh, there's a sloth. That's interesting. Well, anyways, let's get into it today. All right, we'll start with Invincible. Today we have Invincible episode 4.
I fucking like this show.
Yeah?
I like it. I like it a lot. Remember how I fell asleep the first episode and I missed him murdering everybody? I went back and watched that. Fucking great. This episode, also fucking great. Go ahead and say what you want to say. I just want to say it was great.
Okay, so basically, in this episode, you got quite a few things going on. You got the, the Guardians of the Globe or whatever forming the new version of them. Then you have, at the same time, Robot Man is doing some shady stuff behind the scenes where he's got the blue twins basically working on some crazy science experiment. He's also taking some skin samples from Monster Girl and, Rex? Or Rexplode or whatever his name is. And then at the same time, you got some relationship problems with Nolan and his wife. So they decide to do a little, date time and some time one-on-one while Mark goes on a trip to Mars. So a lot of different stuff happens on this episode, and it's a lot of fun. What did you think about, like, the whole Mars trip and all that kind of fun stuff?
It was cute. What a teenager to be worried about, like, looking at your phone and if the girl you like is posting anything on Mars.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that was a little silly.
That's just like
a
teenager thing, you know what I mean? So it's super funny. I love, the one thing about the show that I love is anytime he goes to, like, say his name or whatever, they cut to the title screen that just says, like, Invincible on it, and then there's, like, more blood splatter on it every time, and it's just really funny, and I enjoy that. But I like his character so much. I think it's been hard, like, because he hasn't, like, developed over episodes becoming, like, a superhero. It was the first episode he did that, and things itself is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to feel like the gratification you get watching a superhero kind of develop into their own. He's getting stronger, he's learning his powers better for sure, but I really enjoy his character. His dad, I cannot stand. I love to hate him, you know what I mean? Other than that, I mean, I don't think this episode was, like, super, super crazy other than some of the Cecil stuff that happened in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's a lot of big reveals. Obviously, if you look into any of the stuff for Robot Man and you find out why he's getting these samples and why he's rounding up those twins that are, like, a biology experts or whatever, working on some science projects for him and all that kind of stuff. That's a real interesting story that's unfolding. Then at the same time, obviously, you got, Demon Dog or whatever, the demon guy. We'll call him Hellboy because that's basically who he is. And he's, investigating, and he's basically on to Nolan, but at the same time, Nolan sets him up, and Cecil has to basically banish him back to hell, but he leaves a trace of himself behind, so I don't know how that's going to play into things. Then when you go to see, Mark go into Mars, there's Martians, and he's got to protect this, little group of astronauts, and he falls asleep on the job, of course, and then he wakes up and they're gone, and basically the Martians got him, and they're going to be executed because there's these little weird squid brain monsters that could take over their bodies that are on the planet, and they want to prevent that from happening, so they want to kill them. So it's all a lot of fun stuff going on. I really like I guess the whole Martian thing and the funny stuff with the aliens in space, and like you said, when he was checking his phone out, when he went to eat the sandwich and stuff, and the sandwich shattered.
It's just cute. I enjoy it.
Yeah, that stuff's really fun. I'm really intrigued, obviously, on where the story's going with Nolan, with the dad, because it seems like everything basically depends on that. However soon that comes out, or basically, like, it seems like everybody's basically with the same general consensus that he's guilty of something one way or another. And so it's interesting to find out how fast that's going to play out and what that's going to do to the story. So I'm really interested to see where that goes.
It's definitely a lot of speculation right now. Obviously, he straight up murdered a bunch of people, but do we really know if he's the bad guy? What
I don't really know exactly how that's going to play out. I mean, no, it's definitely that he's a bad guy.
I don't know.
Yeah, he 100% is a bad guy.
I don't know.
The people from his planet, that's what they did. They conquered other civilizations.
My problem is he's the hot dad with a mustache, and I would like him to not be, like, ready to do some genocide. I would like him just to be hot and the superhero.
He's HGH Jonah Jameson, basically.
Did you see the
he's a little big and buff.
So there's a Photoshop of him, like, in the suit at a table, and it's supposed to look like him and Spider-Man, with a little cigar in his mouth, and I really enjoyed it. What's his name? Omni-Man mixed with...
Yeah, I think when he was going in there, killing the Guardians, and when he whispered in the one person's ear, I think basically he was just like, give me the photos of Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
And then just ripped everybody to pieces at that moment.
Kill me.
But I really like this show. It's fun. I don't really know how true to the, comic all that stuff is, but there's a couple other, like, weird moments that are pretty funny, like when basically Rexplode and Monster Girl have a little back and forth, and then after that, Robot Man's like, you can't really flirt with that girl or anything like that, and he's like, dude, she looks like she's 12 years old, like, what are you even talking about? And, like, I don't know if something similar to that plays out in the comics, but I'm pretty sure it's, like, one of them things where nobody wants much to do with her because she's, like, a young kid, although she's, like, 30 years old. So we'll see if they, like, kind of stress that, because it is weird that, like, the one guy there, he's like an old man that's already been with the Guardians before. A couple of them are, like, teenagers, and then you got this, like, little kid basically in the group. So I'm pretty sure, like, everybody's gonna butt heads the whole time. I'm interested to see where that goes. I keep forgetting about the whole, like, almost love triangle going on with Mark and his girlfriend Amber, and then Eve. I really don't care, but we'll see where that goes.
Love some romance. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just more entertained with Nolan's story and Mark finding out about his dad potentially and all that kind of fun stuff, and basically the other characters. I want to
really
know
into
what kind of
Cecil
shady stuff
and,
is
like,
going on.
what's going on there, and I want to get more of that. And I like the, like, Hellboy demon guy a lot.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I'm really excited to see if he comes back. I hope he comes back. Spoiler, he gets a little banished, but he does leave a trace of himself behind, and I hope that we get to see him again soon. I hope it's not one of them deals where he's gone for, like, the rest of the season or some shit. But yeah, that show's awesome. Definitely check it out. It's already on episode 4, which is more than I can say for Falcon and Winter Soldier, because we're only on episode 3 right now, I believe. And this is already offering a lot more, I feel like. What do you think? Yeah, that's great.
I was looking at little mushrooms. Leave me alone. I I think the show has a lot of potential. I obviously have expressed that I love Robert Kirkman and I think that it's going to be like a general success. Everybody I've told to watch this loves it. And as far as things to come, I really don't know what to expect directly because they spent one episode straight up fighting with the same aliens over and over again just for him to go to a planet and like make it explode. Like I like that there is the underlying storyline of what's going to happen with Omni-Man and this group and stuff, but every episode still has its own like little alien battle or something. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's going to shift the change in this dynamic. I don't know what the long-term goal is with his dad, especially because he became literally a superhero the first episode. Like the end of the season he could be dead. I don't fucking know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. I'm excited, and we'll keep you tuned on that as it happens.
I don't have any like big predictions though.
Yeah,
it's too early for me.
Yeah, and I haven't really read the comic, but I'm definitely hoping that
we have some here.
The father gets exposed soon, and that Mark kind of has like a little crisis in his brain.
Yeah, that would obviously make it more interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Either that or we get more progress onto the whole robot man thing and what's going on with the creepy little funky experiment in the tank. I really want to know about that.
I feel really bad for the mom.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that must be an unfortunate situation to be in, but at the same time, it is what it is. That's kind of the game you play, I guess, when you're involved, especially with, what was it, Red Rush's wife? Because, oh, yeah, the mom basically decides that she's going to sell the home for her because, you know, he died and she was all upset and she wants to leave and all that. So that whole situation is playing out as well while she's doing date nights with Nolan. But we'll see. She seems still a little suspicious of Nolan, so I guess that was him trying to, you know, cool the temperature in the room a little bit because things were getting a little heated in the beginning of the episode. But we'll see where that goes as well. You know, now let's dive into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're on our next episode now. Where we left off, they were going to see Zemo. And now in this episode, they do go to see Zemo. Or Baron Zemo, or whatever you'd like to call him. What did you think of this episode?
You're putting a lot of pressure on me.
Okay, so basically in this episode, there's a couple things going on. They're going to see Zemo. When they go to see Zemo, you know, Winter Soldier's like, I'm going to do this on my own. You stay outside. He goes in and talks to him. Basically, Zemo tests him a little bit. They have a little back and forth. And Zemo gives him a proposition to get him out of lockdown. Then he's basically going back to talk with Falcon after this all happens. And he's like, hey, you know, what if basically we you know, broke him out of jail kind of deal. And he starts freaking out. While he's telling him this, by the time he's done telling him the, you know, what if kind of thing, by the end of it, Zemo basically walks in the room and there's that whole conflict. So they decide to work together and they decide to go to Madripoor. And that's where they're going to find some info on the power broker. And at the same time this is happening, a U.S. agent and his little sidekick go to break into the house or building of that guy that took in the Flag Smashers at one point and provided them shelter. And he gets into a heated exchange with that guy, and they can't really get what they want, but they're going by the book, and he's getting super pissed, and you could tell, like, he's going to lose his shit soon. But either way, they go to Madripoor, and they all kind of have to be in disguise. Winter Soldier's got to be the Winter Soldier, and Zemo's got to be Zemo, and Falcon's got to be the Smiling Tiger, and he's, like, dressed like half a pimp, you know, so it's a little ridiculous. They get into it. They get to talk to this guy, Selby, or this lady, Selby. And things go sour. Selby gets killed there on the run, and they find Sharon from the previous movies. And basically, she's, after they were exiled, she came to Madripoor, and she's been kind of going rogue the whole time. And she helps them get out of everything. And there's kind of an open kind of concern of what she's been doing this whole time. And when they kind of get out of this whole thing, they have to go and find this doctor that was the guy that was making the serum that the Flag Smashers stole. And when they find this guy, They get into it with him, talking to him. He doesn't have any more serum, and Zemo just kills him. So then there's that whole issue. So they have to, bail out of there. They're doing quite a few different things, and basically it leaves off they're going to another location where I guess Sokovia was, or used to be, or somewhere. And Bucky kind of trails off, and then towards the end of the episode, he goes and finds the one lady from, what is that, Black Panther movie? I forget what her name is, but she's part of like some group. We've seen her in a couple movies. And basically the only part that I paid attention to was their trip to Madripoor. I wasn't like super wowed with this episode. As you could see, I'm like towards the end, I'm like, yeah,
no,
and
I
they
think
kind of
last
go out
episode,
looking for stuff.
I think episode 2 was the best out of all of these so far. What's the name of the Russian dude? Is he Russian? Zemo. Okay, I trust Zemo more than I trust new Captain America, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, they do stress that he's after the same thing in the sense that he wants to get rid of all the, super soldiers out there, which is a little different, but at the same time, it's similar, so he has at least a direction that he's going in with his whatever plans that he ends up having.
I'm just saying that I obviously can't stand either of them, but he's the better character at this point, which is annoying. I struggle to see how the 6 episodes are going to be enough for the story. I love Anthony Mackie and I love Sebastian Stan and I love their characters. And so I wish, again, this was more of like a cool buddy cop movie than the Flag people. I don't really care for them.
Yeah, the Flag Smashers, they do have a little side note where they show them where the leader, the Wendy's girl, she's basically mourning this lady's death. Yeah, she's got the curly red hair with the freckles.
That is the stupidest. Okay, continue.
I forget what her name is, so I'm calling her the Wendy's girl. Off the top of my head. Whatever. Anyways, she's mourning over this lady's death, who I guess was a significance to the group, and she ends up blowing up a building where they took a bunch of soldiers, tied them up, and took all their resources. So she kind of goes and loses it a little bit and kills a bunch of people. So they also show that.
I don't know. I'm not like gripped by the storyline. I like the concept of like super soldiers, yeah, but like everything else, I don't know if I'm entirely gripped by.
Yeah, I'm more interested in seeing U.S. Agent lose his shit, and I'm a little more interested in seeing who the power broker is. I don't know what they're going to do with that, but that's going to be pretty fun. And I don't know, at some point, is Falcon going to get like a little super soldier serum, or is it going to be U.S. Agent at some point that takes it? One way or another, somebody's got to take it, because that's usually what happens once you become Captain America. You're at least enhanced at some kind of bit. They even kind of hint with the new Black Widow movie that she has kind of a version of the super soldier serum, I think, that she takes. I'm not sure, but we'll find out, obviously, when that comes out.
Yeah, that trailer did come out. That trailer looks pretty good. The Loki trailer also had another one come out this week that looks very good as well. Again, they waited this long to give us a fucking Black Widow movie, but I'll take it. And the Loki stuff, I can't wait to watch. That's in June, so
yeah,
that'd be nice.
But let's hope that we get a little more out of this show, because we're halfway through it already, technically. If it's 6 episodes, then we really don't have much going, so far. But I guess they are squeezing a lot into these episodes. Technically, there are a couple things we mentioned that happened in the episode. They're not very long, though. You're right. Just like WandaVision. They're shorter than an hour. They're like, 45 minutes or whatever it is. But, let's hope it gets a little better. I think this is a pretty average episode. I'm obviously more interested in Invincible right now. That's a lot better.
Yeah.
For sure. But hopefully next week it gets a little spiced up. I'm more excited for Superman and Lois to come back. I know I keep going back to Superman and Lois, but we got like 2 months left before that comes back. So
yep.
Whatever. But all right, let's dive into our next one. Our next one, we went on HBOmax and we watched Godzilla vs. Kong. I was going to say we went to the theater, but we did not. which I'm a little upset about. We should definitely go and see one of these in theaters as it comes out. But this movie would have been great to see in theaters, especially it's got a lot of like
No.
just over the top like
No.
fight scenes that are really fun. The scenes that I don't like and the stuff I don't like in this movie would have been so boring to watch in theaters. Like I would have been ready to snooze. I'm going to say that right off the bat. Like
No.
this movie, you did not seem entertained by this.
I left the room like 4 times because I was so bored. It was like the dialogue in this was so cheesy, and it felt like it was like King Kong's child and Godzilla's child are here to save the day, and all the adults suck.
Their child.
Well, yeah, because Millie
What do you
Bobby
mean their
Brown is
child?
like Godzilla's kid, and then the little girl that was rescued is King Kong's kid.
Oh yeah,
And-
they got a human rep basically.
Yeah,
Each of them.
and they're like softies for these children, and that's cute, and I enjoy that, and the fight sequences are cool, but like pretty much all the dialogue, I don't know, I just couldn't get. I don't know if it's just I was doing stuff while I was watching it, like I was doing some laundry, but no interest. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes that I'm just like, really, dude? Like, at one point where Millie Bobby Brown and the other kid from Deadpool meet up with this one dude who's like the really nerdy podcast guy that
Oh, I like
infiltrated
him.
the thing.
Yeah.
And like he meets up with them and he instantly trusts them and he starts telling them all this stuff in public and he's like, and I have this, and pulls out a thumb drive and gives it to Millie
Well,
Bobby
he trusts
Brown.
her because he knows who she is.
Yeah,
and
but she
knows
looks
the-
at it like, whoa, man, like, what is that? A thumb drive? Like, I was just like, are you kidding me? What
I don't
is
know.
happening?
I still think that's the better part of the story because it feels like it's just this conspiracy dude who like makes sense in this kind of world as a part as that makes more sense to me as a plot line than all the military things and like the boats and all the dumb stuff. It was just annoying and repetitive. And the thing is, I like Godzilla, I like Kong, I like all these movies, and I'm just a little sad. That's it.
Speaking of repetitive, what's up with Millie Bobby Brown's dad also being from the reboot with Jack Black of
What?
King Kong?
Hmm.
Why is he so essential to Kong movies? I don't understand what's going on. But basically in this movie, Godzilla goes in a fury because something happens that kind of wakes him up and sends him a little crazy. And you go to find out it's the one company is making a Mecha Godzilla. And they're using the DNA from one of the beasts from the previous movie that he had killed to hopefully be able to power this giant Godzilla machine replica. And nobody knows at the time that that's what's making Godzilla go nuts, but they feel like Kong might be able to help with this whole situation by helping them find, an entryway to the Hollow Earth. And they go to Kong and they have Kong basically sealed up in a small section of Skull Island in a facility that's mocked to look like the open island, and he's on to them and they know it, so they basically have to get him out, and they're like, look, let's hurry up and get him to the Hollow Earth. Let's do what we can do and see if we can figure out this whole situation, solve our Hollow Earth problem, and at the same time we'll figure out what's going on with this Godzilla nonsense. And while they go to take him out there, they go to take him by boat, and it doesn't work out well because Godzilla's like, yo, don't think I didn't hear you coming into my waters. So he shows up. They have a big-ass fight. It's gnarly. And basically Kong gets his ass whooped. And they decide they got to fly him out to Antarctica at this point. So they do. And while that happens, Godzilla goes ape shit and, goes back to what does he go to, Hong Kong? And he goes and just tears some shit up. And while that happens, a bunch of human storyline shit goes on. And we don't have to talk about that because nobody cares. The only thing that's important is Godzilla versus Kong. Ultimately, let's be real here. So basically, to get them back into it, they have to go through the journey with Kong getting to the Hollow Earth. And he does, and he basically finds out that this is his original homeland or whatever, or they had a big war there, whatever crap. So he finds his little gorilla monument. He finds the axe, this like battle axe you see from the trailer. Godzilla finds out he's down there, bursts a beam down all the way to the hollow earth. Kong comes up, they fight again. Shit gets gnarly. I obviously you weren't very entertained by these fights.
No.
I thought all the fights were
No, the
very
fights were
awesome.
very cool from what I saw. It's just I was so like, I'm a plot person more than I am like a fight person. Like for me, like for example, everybody loves Mad Max, right? Because it's this big fucking destructive movie, and I was just like, well, I would have liked more of a plot. I am a plot person. I love all the shiny stuff, and I like all the explosions, and like Kong taking an airplane and throwing it at somebody. Like that shit's funny as hell. I love that, but I would still like the plot to feel better than this did. Like on action sequences alone, cool, an 8.5, 9 for sure. On the plot, like a 6.5.
Yeah, you think so?
So at most, this movie gets a 7 for me, and that's really, really, really generous.
Yeah, at the same time, I would probably give it like a 7.5. I'm gonna say that right now. I did like all of the fight stuff. All the action stuff was really epic, and the whole time I'm wondering like, who even gives a crap about these human sidelines? Because like they're all farting distance from these monsters, and they could die at any second. And the fact that they don't is ridiculous.
I want to talk about that
And-
ship in that one fight sequence just flipping over and over again, and like nobody's got like a concussion, nobody's throwing up on themselves, nobody's like drowning, they're just fine.
Yeah, I'm assuming like
The monkeys are just
they
jumping.
that people died during that.
The monkeys just
obviously,
jumping
'cause
on
other
stuff.
boats blew up.
Things are exploding. This is basically just Rampage the movie.
They did stress that they lost a lot of people on that mission, but while it's happening, while they show the main characters, they don't show the people directly with them while they're like underwater, not drowning somehow. How they're not dying also, which would make it at least feel a little bit more serious. Or if they just killed off like half of the main characters because they had like 3 little storylines, like basically 2 or 3 adults that were doing one thing, then 2 or 3 people that were doing another thing, and then 2 or 3 people that were doing some other thing. And you're like, dude, kill half of them at least. So, like, it feels a little more serious with them. Because otherwise, I don't care about their stories. Like, I don't care if they make it or not. I just want something epic to happen with them. Because if they all survive, then it doesn't feel as genuine for me. I like the fights. And the fights was where it was at. And when they bring Mechagodzilla into the mix, and basically exactly what I thought when I watched the trailer and you see Mechagodzilla in it is exactly what you think. He basically starts beating up Godzilla, and Kong has to come in. They have to fight him together, and then, they kind of part ways, and they don't really fight to the death or anything like that.
I wanted them to be in love, but I guess we didn't get that lucky.
Yeah, obviously we're not going to get anything like that. But a couple times, they basically, like, make it a tie, where each time somebody does win, it seems like it's because one of the others was at a disadvantage for one reason or another. They don't really give you a direct, like, who would win in the fight, but they do kind of, at the end, have them both look at each other like, we're both kings of our own domain, let's part ways, whatever. And I think if you could see this in the movie theater, do it. The fight scenes are probably really awesome to see, like, on the big screen.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I would give this like a 7.5. You said you would give it a 7, and you said it was being generous, but I think a 7.5 is like fairly solid for it. The action scenes were really good, but like half the movie is almost spoiled with the really slow moving kind of human stories that I had no interest in. If you are interested in that kind of stuff, maybe you'll like that too. I just am not into it.
At the same time, like, Godzilla's not going to talk and give us a plot point, you know what I mean? So I get the human plot points and stuff. I just wish they were done a bit better. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. They could definitely be a little bit better. I would like to probably see another movie where maybe like they have to fight like a big war in the Hollow Earth. I would like to see that, where maybe at some point a couple more beasts keep coming out in that area and they all kind of meet there and have this crazy war, because they do show like where there's 2 different lands in there. There's the inner circle and the outer circle. And when you jump through it, like the gravity changes and stuff like that. They have a couple cool scenes with that. And that would be pretty fun to see a big fight go on with that mix where the gravity's changing and all the monsters are fighting. And it would just be an excuse to do a lot of just crazy CG stuff and lots of explosions and gore and cool stuff like that. They did show some monsters on the Hollow Earth, but we didn't get to see any like really, really epic battles down there. What did you think of the Hollow Earth? I thought that was kind of one of the coolest parts of it.
I don't even know if I got there.
What do you mean you don't know if you got there? What? Like, you walked out of the room way too much. There was some good stuff in that.
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, either way, I'm going to say definitely at least check this out. If you have HBOmax, I mean, definitely at least watch it. It's pretty decent. And it seems like there's a lot of movies coming to HBOmax.
Yeah, they've been getting a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I can't wait to watch The Matrix when it comes out.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, they finished The Matrix recently. And that's going to be coming out. They're going to have Dune is coming out soon and stuff like that.
Is that a reboot or The Matrix?
No, The Matrix is a sequel. It's going to be Matrix 4. But Dune is a remake.
No, I know what Dune is. I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm just asking about Matrix.
Yeah, but Matrix is an actual sequel. So that'll be pretty cool to see. Let me know, or let us know what you guys are looking forward to seeing, because there's a lot of movies coming out. I mean, what do we get? Black Widow in like July or something like that, I believe. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, we're always open to review whatever you guys have in mind. And if there's anything that you think we should definitely check out, let me know. I wanted to do Shudder stuff this week. That didn't happen, so maybe next week we'll have a Shudder episode out. There's a lot of things we were already watching this week. I think next week will be a little more open, you know?
Unholy is coming out soon, so I'm going
Yeah.
to be watching that with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That I'm really excited about. I did get a little excited when we got to see a couple cool horror movies recently, so I'm excited to see some more of those. But, yeah. So let us know if you guys want us to check out anything in particular. But we'll definitely be keeping you posted on the next episode of Invincible and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we'll probably check out a couple new horror movies for next week, like you said, because you want to go into some Shudder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you close out for us?
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I know I didn't like a lot of the stuff, but there is some good things in there for sure. Definitely check out Invincible, and I would say if you haven't watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, maybe just wait till all the episodes are out. That's my opinion on everything we watched. If you want to watch previous episodes of Podcast for the Recently Released, you can go to podfortherecentlyreleased.com. I'm lying to you. It's podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com. And there's direct links to our social media. There's direct links to like all of our web stores as well. And then there's direct links to listen to us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere podcasts are listened to. Here on YouTube. Hi, if you're watching, you can see us on video.
What's Gucci? What's going on?
You can also listen to us directly through our website. And we have an Instagram, which is podfortherecently.released.com. Or not .com. I'm mixing everything up. You hear me? But it's Pod for the Recently Released. I post some memes on there. I let you know when new episodes are live. We answer your questions, and we're always open for suggestions on there if you want to suggest a thing for us to check out.
Yeah, see you next week, players.
Thanks for listening to yet another episode of Podcast for the Recently Released. If you want to peep some of our older episodes, we've got a ton of them. Just check us out on podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com. We've got merch, older episodes, links for other ways to listen to us, and more. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Don't let your meatloaf. Stay safe out there, guys.